enter into dales and garden. All are welcome here. We're gonna have a craft conversation. Please lend us an ear. Join the circle, no beginning or end. We're gonna have a craft conversation here among friends. Come on, y'all, join the party. There's no judgment in here. We're gonna have a craft conversation. We're talking about beer.
Tommy got a free t-shirt. That's absolutely correct. So what's going on, man? We are live. Not live.
Yeah, we
We're
are.
recording.
We're live.
We're live.
They won't. Hopefully they'll be alive when this.
They'll be alive.
Hopefully,
And if they're not, we won't know it.
When you post this.
Right. And when are we posting? Friday?
Yes.
What's the date on Friday? May.
Friday would be the 24th.
Right. May 24th. So.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you're listening to this, it's May 24th.
Or after.
Or after. You might need to pull that mic in, man.
All right. Yeah. All right. There we go.
Yeah.
Hello there.
Hello, YouTubers and podcasters and iTunes and Google Play and Spotify and Podbean, all those guys. We're on all those guys. We just got back from the Green Barn Jam. Is that the official name?
The Green Barn Jam in Carnes Crossroads community, right up there. The old Green Barn has moved closer to Somerville.
Yeah, so you mentioned that when we were out there. So that barn used to be, that actual barn used to be somebody else, somewhere
else? It
else?
used to be actually Carnes Crossroads.
Okay, a little further down the road.
176 hit 17A. That was Carnes Crossroads. And the barn was right there on the same side of the road in that same quadrant, right there where they intersected. And then they moved it and built a neighborhood with lots of nice houses. And
but it's the same barn. I mean, they didn't reconstruct it. They just picked it up.
I remember that barn from when I was a kid.
That's awesome.
A cool barn.
And this was put on by by Eddie White, same guy that does All in All Green on Wednesday nights.
All in All and Coco Productions, which are GoCo. I apologize if I got that wrong, but they're doing it. So it's happening right up the street outside the city limits of Somerville in beautiful Goose Creek, South Carolina. It's
that's fantastic. Your mic still needs to come closer to you. I'm looking at your levels.
All right.
Yeah, that's better. Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
So I want to hear you, Fleming. I want to hear what you got to say, man, because I'm sure you got some stuff to say today.
I'm very soft-spoken, you know this.
I know. And it is late at night. You've had a long day. We've been out in the sun all day.
Yeah, every time I do one of these is after a marathon gig, and it's been a marathon weekend, man. It started off Friday. I was on set at an undisclosed location that I can't talk about, but
right, because you're an actor.
Work, background acting. It's called extras to some people, but it's fun and it's cool. But you sign an NDA, so you can't really talk about what's going on with that. But it's people are aware that the Righteous Gemstones is filming here in Charleston, and so it's Danny McBride's a funny guy, and I think people will enjoy it.
Good.
So I did that Friday. Saturday I was across the street in Hutchinson Square doing the voter registration drive. Tanner and I played for a couple hours, and then you were here last night.
Oh yeah.
That was Bluesphere in Studio 117.
Right. Yeah, that's where we're recording from today. Studio 117 here at Homegrown Brewhouse, 117 South Main Street. And hence the name, Studio 117, because that's the address here. So, yeah, we had our, February, March, April, May. That was our fourth show, right? That we've done back here.
Yes, and
with Bluesphere last night.
Whoa. Yeah.
It was big time.
People that had never been to Homegrown or even back here, I think had a really good time.
Yeah. People were amazed at the space back here, for one, and then just at the setup, the lighting, the backdrop, and the band, of course, was phenomenal. So.
Right. And a cool mix of people. People from their 70s down to their 30s were hanging out listening to some good music.
Yeah.
Shout
Yeah, a
out.
couple girls might have been not even 21. I don't know. There was
No,
some young
no.
girls.
No, that's not true.
That's not true?
I don't think so.
No, we wouldn't allow them in.
Wouldn't allow that.
Yeah, it's a family joint, but not back here in the studio.
All right.
This is 21 and over back here. So, yeah, I thought it went well. You know, for the fourth time, we learned some lessons the first 2 or 3 times and kind of did some things a little differently last night, packed the place out. I think we've learned that we can put that many people in here, but we need a little different configuration as far as seating and tabling and things like that. But
I heard from a feng shui expert
oh yeah,
what to do.
okay,
And I think she has some really good ideas. She's as it turned out, I'm not going to name any names, but she works in the film industry and was here. So that kind of blew my mind.
oh, she was here last night.
Last night, and some of this extra work they're doing, ran into her on another, believe it or not, Charleston. They're filming all over. The film industry is taking off in Charleston. They're due, from what I hear, 6 projects in the next 2 years or a year. I think it's next year in the next year there's 6 different projects. So there's lots of work to be done on that. But this woman knew Tommy from Bluesphere.
Yeah,
And showed up, and it so happened that I knew her from the project they're doing over. It's called Mr. Mercedes. It's
yeah, I've seen that show.
Another show they're doing in Charleston. But she likes the place, dug it, and she goes all over the world. So she's got an idea of what's cool and what's hip, and has some ideas I want to throw to you and Caleb when we get the chance, because I think she's on to something.
Nice. I'm ready. I'm ready for it. Any idea? I don't care.
Right. And so listen, the art of listening.
Yeah.
People have good ideas. And it's,
Sometimes.
yes.
Not all the
Yeah,
time.
but I used to be
Yeah.
the one that thought, nah, if I didn't come from me.
Right.
And
Yeah.
I'm not, no, I've discarded things out of hand by not listening.
Absolutely.
But I'm older and wiser.
Right. Very cool. So we talked about the 2 things I want to talk about up front, the Green Barn Jam, and that's going to be every Sunday, or is this?
No, I think it's a monthly thing, and they're kind of seeing how it's going to do with all ventures like that. And but anyway, I think what you cannot do is the Barn Jam is such a cool thing out in Allendale.
Mm-hmm.
And I realized this when I started Bummerville Amphitheater. You can't replicate exactly what's going on at the Barn Jam in Allendale because it's a different community. And what makes Allendale a special place is that it's a community where the same people come together, and it happened organically. So when you try to embroidery a brand into a different community, that community itself, it has its own organic communal spirit, and
Right.
so people shouldn't expect the same thing.
Right. You got to figure out what draws that crowd in
Right.
versus the other one.
But
in
it's
Allendale.
cool. And the music, as long as the music's cool and people are comfortable,
Yeah.
it'll succeed.
Right. I enjoyed it today. I mean, you know, just to take a piece from what Allendale Green does and stuff, you know, I think some permanent style seating or something that they can at least roll out for the shows and stuff. So,
Right.
but it's a nice grassy area. It's got, you know, bring your own chairs, bring your they actually sell beer and stuff out there, beer and wine. So that was nice. You know, you don't have to bring your own beer. Some places you can't even bring anything. You know, at the Porch Jam, for instance, out in Niceville, I think is alcohol free. But at least this place is selling some stuff if you're into that. But And even just the grass is nice. Bring a blanket, just lay out in the grass. It's a little hot, if you're in the direct sunlight, but I think depending on the day.
Figure that out. With the time, and you always figure that out, like in a space like that. There's just things I probably should think up front, like what direction is east and west.
Right.
If you're a painter, you don't paint the east side of the building first thing in the morning. You work from west to east as the day goes on. And
yeah.
So they would have started like 4:30 or 5 when the barn had a shadow cast over the grass. Then they ended it right about now. It might have been perfect.
Right. Well, as we went along, where we were sitting underneath that tree and just had that little patch of shade. As the day went on, that shade just got
nicer and nicer.
Nice. Yeah. Got
They'll
better and
figure
better.
it out. Eddie's a smart guy. He's and it's got good sound production. That's the key. On Dog Green always gives you good sound production.
Yeah.
I mean, as a musician when you're on stage. So a shout out to Preston and Brian from On Dog Green. You other guys rock too. I just don't know your names.
Right. And just to finish up with that whole thing, so Mike, the Mike Friend Band closed that thing out tonight, and he's going to be here next month.
Right here.
June 15th, right?
117, yeah. If
Yeah.
you haven't heard Mike Frund, you can Google him.
Oh, is that how you say it, Frund?
I do. He's probably friend.
Yeah.
Mike and I, anyway, we got this thing going. Anyway, Mike Frond. I'll get it right, but anyway, you Google it. It's Freund.
Right.
And he's all over the place. He tours all around. He's like a killer guitar player. New Jersey born. Blues rock influence, and writes really, really good songs. So I'm excited to have him in here.
Right. That's the first time I've heard him with a band. He's played up front here at Homegrown a couple times solo, and very good on his own, but together with a band was just a different level.
Yeah.
So I think it's going to sound really good back here. I think I don't know where we're going to fit them because they got like 6 people. And
well, no. He's going to what he's going to do is he'll probably bring his keyboardist, his bass player, and do a lot of loop work on the loop pedal.
Okay.
If y'all like Graham Worley, you'll love Mike Frund or Friend.
Friend.
So he's not going to. Can we segue into this beautiful banner you got behind you? Because Mike Frund says he's not going to vote for me because I'm mean.
Let's jump right into it. Yeah.
Right,
So what is this thing behind us here? This is
Well, to some people.
Oh, that's you.
Yeah, to some people. I was informed today that it's a joke to them, and do I look like the kind of guy that would joke somebody about something like this?
No, I mean I'd love to have some comedians on the show, but I don't think you're that guy. I think you're pretty serious about this, right?
Yeah, I wouldn't put my name out there, and my word is my word. And when I sold the 25 candles, I said I was gonna put my name on the ballot, and I did what you need to do as far as the ethics commission is concerned. And the paper called up and asked me if I was running, and I said, yes, I am. So it's official. I said, well, I wasn't going to announce it until May 19th, but they it went out in the paper, and then it got out in the paper again. And so my official press release was going to be this Wednesday, but it seems like somehow it's catching a little bit of attention.
Right. So yeah, the Somerville Journal Scene is what you're talking about, right? Or was that Post and Courier?
Post and Courier is going to look out.
No, I mean the one from last week was the Journal Scene.
This Wednesday or Thursday, 2 days before you see this,
yeah,
there will be. Hopefully, you'll see it before you hear this.
Right. Of course, we're talking about running for mayor of Somerville. That's what we're talking about.
Right.
You haven't gotten it so far from the backdrop of what we're saying, but so why do you want to be mayor?
I don't necessarily want to be mayor, but I think there's a need for some, and nobody's shared my vision that I have, and maybe if my vision doesn't resonate, I don't need to be mayor. But the reason I would run for mayor is that I love my town. I was born here. I've lived here most of my life. I'll probably die here, not sure about that, where I'll do that, but I know for sure where I'll be buried, and it'll be in this town. I love the people of the town, and I think that, not that our local government has done poorly at all. I think serving the public's a pretty thankless job for the most part, but if you have a desire to serve and you think you have a vision that would help the town, and I think I do have a clear vision of what we can actually achieve as a town council and as a mayor. We can't fix your traffic problem because that's a state county issue. I mean, the things we can do on the margins, but and I'm not blaming those guys either. We got growth, and we got to learn how to deal with that and be realistic about it. I'm not anti-development. If we didn't have development, we'd all be living in caves, you know. So change is happening.
Or a different town that developed.
Right, yeah.
We'd leave this place.
Yeah, but you just, development's going to happen, and people want to move here, and you can't stop that. The key, and I'm not saying I have the answer to that. What I'm saying is that if we value community, and I do, and we as citizens of Somerville pay a hospitality tax for a cup of coffee at Coastal Coffee Roasters, or when you eat breakfast at Eva's, or you have a beverage at Homegrown Brew House, you're paying a tax on that, and state law says the town can have half that money right off the top, which is fair, and the other half can be used for any kind of things or events that would bring tourism into the city limits. The whole point is if you bring people in from out of town, they're paying taxes, and you're not paying taxes. But the truth is, we pay that tax also. So what I'm asking the town council to get behind, and as a mayor, what I would propose is that we spend more money out of that hospitality tax than we are now. I'm hoping my figures are right here. I'm trying to recall, but I believe we took in like $4.8 million in hospitality tax last year. And this year we're spending $181,000 on organization nonprofits that do these type of things. One of them might be, like Flowertown Players gets a little bit of money, not a lot. The museum, because they have events that actually draw people into town.
Right.
And so I think the town should raise that to like $500,000 and not necessarily make it go all to nonprofits, and get it into the hands of artists and spend this money invested in art infrastructure, help Public Works out with what they're doing down on the corner, and start providing their citizens with nice cultural events that they can do, participate in, or even go to with their families, because at the end of it all, that's what brings us joy. Spending money at another Starbucks or a new grocery store or the next box store in town, that's, to me, I think that's what we need. The biggest change is in our hearts. I think we do a lot of things, me included. We get financially insecure and we let the fear of money rule our hearts rather than love for our neighbor and understanding that we need to, as a community, sometimes forego something for ourselves so that we better everyone else. It's called self-sacrifice, and it's been my experience that's really the only thing that brings true joy in this world. So why don't we spread some joy and art all over Somerville?
Right, that sounds good. I didn't ask you any questions on that, so you went into a lot of detail without any prodding, and that's great. I love it. Kind of gives us a chance to look at what your first and foremost vision is for the town. Sounds like togetherness. If I wrap it all up into one word.
Well, it's what it would take is if we could get together and and share in this vision. And I'm not saying that it's got to be exactly the vision that I have, but I do believe that if all the talented people we have here in Somerville, if we could just lay down and bury the hatchet or whatever, live in the moment, adapt to the present situation, forget about what happened in 2015. It's 2019 now. We have talented people, artists, a lot of people moving here that we could beautify the town, find blighted spaces, have people, artists, visual artists paint them, beautify the town, and start enjoying the stuff and enjoy the essence of what life and community is about, rather than
Well, why do you think you're the guy to bring all this change about and to do that?
Because nobody else is expressing that point of view. I'm hearing people saying they're going to fix the traffic.
Right.
I've heard that, and I don't know how you know.
And sometimes you can deal with the traffic if you have other stuff around you, artistic stuff, music, cultural events, whatever that's distracting you from some of those things, the traffic and things like that. Just like if you go to a nice restaurant and you got a steak and it wasn't that great, but the service was phenomenal, you don't mind that so much. The steak, you can deal with the steak not being so great because you had great service. Great waitress, waiter, staff, whatever.
Right, and the older I get, speaking of that, I would rather give somebody as a gift, take them out for a meal and enjoy their company, rather than buy them a gift that, is, I don't know. It seems like experience is what I look for.
Yeah.
Better gifts than some kind of, I'm not good at picking out gifts anyway, so.
Right.
It's something that they don't need or they don't want.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not a good gift giver either. Especially when there's so many damn holidays. I mean, there's something every single day of the week almost that you got to buy a present for, or celebrate, or do something for. It gets a little much. But well, tell me this. I mean, you've got some sort of. I mean, your name is not Shady for anything, right? For nothing. I mean, you've got kind of a shady past. Are you qualified to be mayor?
Well, yes, I am, and. The mayor is like a council person, but he's the councilman that looks after all the districts in the town. But so in order to be a mayor, you have to, I believe, be a good listener, which I am. You also have to build consensus about your ideas, which means sometimes you gotta compromise. I don't know why compromise is disappeared from it became a bad word a while back. People aren't willing to compromise, but you sit down and listen.
I mean, I've always learned, that compromise is not the best way to go, because somebody loses and somebody wins, really, in a compromise. A lot of people look at it, it's a win-win, but it's not really. It's a win-loss. Because the person that compromised is losing.
Well, if people are willing to lose, that's where the sacrifice comes in.
Right.
And the compromise.
I
That's the compromise that I'm talking about.
I would like to use sacrifice better than lose as well, but
right, you got to be willing to sacrifice something for the whole. See, the whole is greater than the sum of the parts.
Right.
And I understand that. I mean, it's calculus is what it is, and so. One of the reasons I think I'm qualified is because I am a good listener. I can listen to two different people's point of view and be objective, and I am fair-handed. I've been on both sides. People would say you're a flip-flopper. And not to rehash everything that's transpired in local politics, but I've always
I hate that
been
term,
an
flip-flopper.
honest broker.
Because people can change their mind. People get new information, they change their minds all the time. It's not flip-flopping, it's changing your mind.
Being an honest broker, man, when somebody points out something and you see it, regardless of who that information came from, you say, okay, well, I see your point.
Right.
And but that comes from being able to listen and not talk past people. And we got to quit doing that.
Right.
We got to listen. It doesn't, and what I don't like is the dark art of the building a narrative against a person's personality. So as people will see in my campaign that I'm not going to disparage any one of the men running for mayor. I don't think anybody really wants to do it, but it's out of a service, and we just have different ideas of what's best for the town. And calling people names, or calling them greedy, or calling them, calling them some kind of like the Joker or something. One of the personalities, they were making him out to be like he was something mysterious because he lived in a foreign country, and what were his motives. I guess questioning people's motives for why they want to be a mayor, you won't see me doing that, because it's
Well, it seems like, for one thing, that's a weak person that's doing that. For number two, that's a person that doesn't have a vision, that they're trying to, all they can do is disparage somebody else's vision to make themselves look good, because they don't have a vision for themselves. So if you've got a vision and you've got a positive way that you want to go, talk that up. Don't talk down the person that's running against you. Or
Right, well, it just seems like it was happening on both sides, and I was stuck in the middle.
Yeah.
And when you call both sides out, nobody's going to like it.
Yeah.
Except for the people who are in the middle, I guess.
Right.
But anyway.
But you should be able to run and just talk about what you want to do, what you're going to do, what you're thinking to do,
and build enthusiasm,
and not talk about what somebody else is doing and bad mouthing them. I mean,
right.
That's what we tell our kids to do the entire time they're growing up, is be nice to people and treat them as you would like to be treated and whatever. But then we become adults and we don't do that. So I don't know what the problem is there, but we don't practice what we preach.
Right.
Yeah. And I mean, when it comes to politics, we're worse than the kids on a playground talking shit about each other. It's horrible. I mean, we've seen it here recently, just on Facebook, on social media.
Yeah.
It gets ugly. People get butthurt,
Yeah.
and they take it way too serious.
Well, I think it's somewhat of it's almost like, and I've got caught up in it before, but it's almost like if you played video games before and you're just obsessed with the video game, you play it. Have you ever played a video game for like 2 or 3 hours?
Oh, yeah,
just
sure.
keep getting in, trying to get to a different level.
Yeah.
And you get adrenaline rushes from playing the video game. A little burst of adrenaline. And I think sometimes when you get in one of those Twitter fights or feeds, you aren't really thinking, you're running on adrenaline, and then you say something you regret, that only because you're wanting to one-up somebody, and then you find the humility to apologize.
Yeah.
And you apologize only if you really mean it, So that I don't think an immediate apology is necessary in all cases. I think it's an apology that's well-timed and heartfelt and thought out. So an immediate apology is kind of like pandering.
Yeah, immediate is kind of...
But I wouldn't dig my heels in if I were in a situation like that again.
Yeah. Right. Well, speaking of that, totally off that subject, but what do you think about the other candidates? Who do we got now? We got officially 2 other people besides you have declared?
Yeah, well, yes. And one of them is Bill Hearn. He's served on Dorchester County Council, and so he's been in politics for, I think, 19 years. And then you have,
I'm going to open
I don't
this
know
beer.
much about him, other than that. And I think his main issue is he wants to bring civility back to Somerville, which is not.
What does that even mean? Civility?
Civility,
We're not civil right now? We're animals?
Well, no.
I mean, what are we talking about?
Well,
Savages?
Some people might describe council meetings being zoo-like.
Okay, I got you.
In nature, and apparently, you might ought to ask Stephen Wright, his campaign communication, to come talk to you about what his issues are. But he apparently he's brought civility to county council. All right, and civility is good, but it's got to be a means to an end. I mean, sure, we can all be nice to each other, but that's good and bad. Sometimes civility is just a mask for underlying.
I mean, that's more like control.
Well, it's
or it can be control, I guess.
Well, I found like
there's got to be a middle ground.
Working at a church and being in church and living the life I've lived and being in the rooms of recovery where people are raw and emotionally honest. Sometimes there's not a lot of civility. Sometimes there might be a lot of friction, but they work through it and they get past it because they want to stay alive because they're in recovery. So they let those little things by the wayside because they get the big picture, you know. Whereas when I worked in a church, a lot of people were very, very civil to one another, but never worked out the underlying issues that inevitably are going to happen in any setting or situation, whether it be you work at the post office, you work in a school, you work in a bank. You're having different personalities come together, and sometimes they don't always see things eye to eye. In a church, those confrontations never get worked out because people are being so civil that they can't find the emotional honesty.
All the eyes are on them, and they're trying to just be this Christian, nice.
Well, it's not necessarily
the picture of
right. They're trying to.
But behind closed doors, they're.
Well, underneath, not even behind. I don't know what people do behind closed doors. I don't even care, but you just know that there's an underlying thing, and it always comes out, you know.
Right. Okay. So that was the one candidate, right?
Yeah,
he's going to bring civility back.
Ricky Waring, a family friend and a good guy.
He's the ex or former fire chief or something.
Yeah, he's had a life dedicated to public service, and he's running. And he did stop by and said hey to me at Bummerville Amphitheater on third Thursday. We got to sit and talk, and it was nice. And he understood that I wasn't running against Ricky. I'm not running against Bill Hearn. I'm not running against Mayor Johnson if he decides to get into this race, which is still up in the air. I told Ricky I'm running for something, not against either one of those guys. And he said, I appreciate it. He said, welcome to the show.
Yeah. What do you think about that?
I think
it was genuine?
Yeah, because I know it's genuine because, like I said, we've been family friends, and Ricky's sister was best friends with my aunt, and my aunt was in need at a time when not a whole lot of people would have helped my aunt. But Ricky, because of the family tie, went out on a limb for her and got her a place to live, and it was, you know, that speaks volumes to his character to me. You know? So I don't think anybody would, like I said in the beginning, I think anybody who's running for mayor, I always believe and give people the benefit of the doubt that they're doing public service because, I mean...
Yeah, I mean, why would you run?
It's not like they pay a bunch of money.
Right. It's not a high-paying job. There's not a whole lot of clout going on. I mean, at this level, you're not making a whole lot of world changes or anything. So, I mean, it's got to be for the job, right? You just want to serve the public.
Hopefully, I'm thinking they want to make the town better for people, you know?
Yeah.
I don't think it's any more than that.
How'd you get the nickname Shady? I mean, we got up here Shady for mayor.
Well, I think we talked about that in a former episode. So
we may have.
We had. So they might have to tune into that one. No,
that's
true.
A
nickname my stepsons gave to me in a time of my life when I was shady, and my life's been turned around. But I do not want to shut the door on the past. and forget where I came from, and it's a term of endearment, and it's kind of ironic in the fact that I'm not shady at all, you know.
Right.
I'm honest, so there's a little juxtaposition in it as well.
Yeah, but it's catchy though.
Yeah.
That's a good benefit.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like it.
people are going to remember it, I think. Hopefully.
Yeah. Well,
How are you going to? Go ahead.
no, I said really the main thing is talking about parents teaching children. I remember my grandmother used to say, I mean, everything I needed to learn for life, my grandmother taught me before I was in kindergarten between her and my mom.
Yeah, that's why
And
they're.
somehow I lost those lessons between 5th and 7th grade.
Right.
But
that's why they're the elders, right? I mean,
Right,
they're
yeah,
supposed
but
to
I
know
mean-
that stuff.
But one of the things she told me, she said, Fleming, you know, if you do something with the best intentions out of the goodness of your heart and not out of a selfish reason, regardless the outcome, nothing goes void in the universe.
Yeah.
Everything you do,
It goes out there.
it goes out there, and you might affect things in ways you don't know. You know, and I've had that happen before too, just from teaching students that come back to you years later and say, you don't know how much you did for me. And I mean, not to be tooting my own horn, I mean, it's very humbling when it comes back, but then it also makes you realize on the flip side of that, how many students' lives did I affect in a negative way because you don't
True.
do everything positively.
Yeah, you don't always hear about those either. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's probably a balance, just like everything is. You know, you probably got just as many negative vibes as you did positive vibes out there, but that's the balance of the world. That's the yin and yang of life. You know, you can't have light without the darkness, they say, right? I mean,
Can't be shady without a little light.
that's right.
So no.
What did what did Eddie say today? Shady and itchy?
Yeah,
That's what he called you.
Itchy and scratchy.
Itchy and scratchy or something? Yeah, you
Yeah.
and Tanner, the
Yeah,
band.
we call ourselves Shifty and Shady.
Yeah,
Tanner is shifty, man. That boy doesn't sit still. He's like he disappeared.
yeah,
Pop. Whoa.
right. But I understand what you're saying about, you know, the school teaching stuff. You know, I was in the military for 21 years, so I had a chance to grow and be supervisors and mentors to different people. And yeah, people still come back to me. You know, I've been out of the military since 2013, and people still come up and reach out to me, Facebook, Instagram, whatever, email, text message, and say, hey, you did this for me, or you did X, Y, Z, and I'm doing this because of you, or whatever. And same thing with the podcast. You know, I've had, matter of fact, a guy came out today, I won't mention his name, but came up to me today at the Green Barn Jam and said how much one of my episodes had reached out to him and touched him and stuff. So,
Cool.
yeah.
That's
So-
how it starts. You know, it's a binary thing. Get 2, 4,
Yeah,
8, 16, 32,
right.
64. Goes up in a hurry.
You were a math teacher, right?
Yes, I was. There's no financial benefit to being able to square numbers in your head,
Right.
except for an SAT test. So you kids remember, 17 squared is 289 because you're going to see it on the SAT,
Nice.
or the or vice versa. Square. They always testing. I learned how to teach the test to students. I was good at it.
Yeah, I'm just going with whatever you say because that's not my strong suit at all, math. But
Well, that might be.
well, speaking of math,
Wait a second now. Let's.
Okay.
We were going all over the place here.
yeah, we're in
We've
it now.
answered the Shady question, but I don't think I did a real good job of explaining why I believe I'm qualified to be mayor. As a math teacher, part of the deal is problem solving. I'm a good problem solver. I can read a word problem or look at a problem, determine the variables in the problem, and balance the equation so that you get the output that you want. In mathematics, it's a function. So, say you have a project that you want to develop. A lot goes into that. You know, how is it going to affect the town? And one of the things we need to be looking at is the variables of water drainage. and this is one thing we'll talk more about in the future, about, and this is where some people might get upset with me, and that's okay, but they don't want to draw national issues into local politics. But I think there's one issue that absolutely affects us locally that we can't turn our heads back. And I'm not talking about debating the cause of climate change, whether it's man-made or it's just a natural reoccurring phenomenon. There's evidence to suggest both. That's not the point. If we get caught up in that argument, we're going to take our eye off the ball that temperatures are rising, seawater levels are rising, and so we need to look at how this town's going to be in the next 50 years.
Absolutely.
And having a degree in mathematics kind of helps with that, being able to identify what the variables are in a problem and computing an output
Yeah.
you would need for that. And that's
a lot of people will say, well, why are you going to be concerned about that? I mean, that's a world problem. China produces the most pollution out of anybody, and until they get on board, what's us doing anything going to matter? But it starts with us. It starts with the the little guys and the mayors and the governors that make a small change for here, and then if everybody makes that small change, then it's a big change.
It's a cop-out, and I'm not saying that we necessarily need to adopt everything LEED does or everything and that's a certification process for towns and building codes that are friendly, green building codes.
Yeah.
But we do need to think about, well, temperatures are rising, and the data suggests that they are. By mid-century, we'll be 4 degrees hotter.
Yeah.
Which is a lot, which means sea levels will rise, drainage will become a problem. But the deal is, what can we do to be comfortable? We might not can change that, but could we maybe resurface the town square now before it gets hot, so that people would be able to, the parking around there. There's a lot of things we can do to be more comfortable, so that
Sure.
you're not scorching hot.
Right. And it's just, like I said, it's just small changes. I mean, let's look at the the phenomenon that happened 2-3 years ago with the straws. Nobody wanted a straw in their cup anymore. Get rid of straws. Don't give me a straw. The big straw movement. And a lot of people say, well, what the heck is a little tiny straw? What difference is that going to make? Well, think about the amount of straws that we use on a daily basis, and then let's move on to something bigger. Let's now start replacing plastic caps. Instead of having plastic, we have a paper cap or something that's biodegradable. But it's something small you got to start with. You can't just change the world automatically at a snap of a finger. You got to make small changes to make big changes.
Well, you know what? I didn't bring any political merchandise for my funding, but you just gave me a great idea, Brian.
All right.
Like plastic water bottles. Those are bad.
Yeah.
I need to get the Shady for Mayor logo and get some of these reusable, drinkable water, so you get refills.
Yeah.
And that'll be part of my merchandise, so that I can remember to stay on the.
Well, that segues right into one of my next questions. How are you going to fund your campaign? I mean, I know you've already talked about candles. You mentioned candles, but you didn't really.
I didn't bring any in. I
got a couple over here.
You got a couple over there, but I have some stickers and some political merchandise is what it's called. So the way I'm going to do this is keep it simple. I'm not going to spend more than $2,500, and
on the entire
campaign. Who knows if I'll even raise that much?
So who's keeping track of that?
I have to keep track of it. And the way I'm doing it, like today, I brought in $30 out at the Barn Jam, but it makes it easier for a guy like me with a small staff to comply with the election commission's ethics rules, where I have to report stuff. So if I'm just selling political merchandise, I report the political merchandise, and the donors, because they're small donations, remain anonymous. I won't be receiving any money from any developers, and it's nonpartisan, so the Democratic Party or the Republican Party can't donate to me. I'm just, if my message resonates, people will buy the merchandise and they'll get out and help me get the vote out.
All right. So what happens if you reach $2,500? You just say, no, I can't take your money. I'm not taking any more.
No, I would take some more money and then I would donate whatever's left over to Public Works.
Okay.
The new, we haven't talked about that, but for people who don't know, Public Works is a 501c3 that we're excited about because they got a lease on the old post office from CBW, and they're going to put in some art studios and galleries and bring in some art that Somerville will love. You know, some people might not, but it'll be stuff you could really see, some avant-garde things that I saw up in Lake City at Artsfield. Was cool. Kind of like the performance at Bluesphere last night. People were amazed because you don't get to see that every day in Somerville or anywhere nearby, and that's why Public Works is such a great idea and ties into the hospitality tax, is because if we would invest and grant them money to do what they need to do instead of them having to fundraise, they can spend their energy actually creating and bringing the stuff together. But you know, when you're looking at having to raise $250,000 just to get the building up, to get people into it, then you're spending a lot of energy just on fundraising. If you could free those people up to do what they do best.
Right. I mean, speaking of arts, right? I mean, if you got a band that's up there and they've already got millions of bucks and they're living high on the hog, they're up there playing for fun. They're having a good time. But if you're up there working for a living, it's a different story sometimes. You don't put your full effort, or you're putting your full effort into it, but it's a little, I don't know, a little watered down maybe. I mean, you can tell when somebody's having fun and enjoying what they're doing and somebody that's doing it because they have to do it. And I think that's what you're saying, is if we can get these guys some funds and let them just do their job.
Yeah, free it up. I mean, like for the board members, so they're going to need to put people in there. The board members have a good vision and they're a good team. My goodness, you know, I wish Lomerville Amphitheater had a team like that.
Yeah.
But we're small and organically growing, and who knows?
Well, you mentioned the museum a little while ago. So, what about those guys? What do you know about the museum? I've heard they were closing. Are they not closing now? Are they staying open? I mean, is that something that you're interested in as a mayor?
Well, I would hate to lose the museum. Now, and I don't really know enough about it to make a comment one way or the other. Just as somebody who's been involved in events and producing events and music events, that location sometimes. This side of the street doesn't get the love that the other side of the street gets on Third Thursday.
Oh, I know.
We're over here at Homegrown Brew House in Studio 117, located at 117 South Main Street.
Yep.
Across the square from Little Main. So I think that's part of the thing with the museum. They're not getting that kind of traffic, but location. Now, what could change that?
And that's my thing is
one of the proposals.
Location. We're in the prime location, Hutchison Square, but one side gets preferential treatment over the other.
Because nothing's attracting them over here. What we need to do on this side of the street is bring the party over here and not let them worry about. They'll figure that out sooner. But if we could paint murals and artwork like they have over in Park Circle, back here in this alleyway from the theater all the way down to the ice house, like they started behind the museum, that would draw people that could walk through here. Now, Savannah does some cool stuff too that gets people to come in different areas. Is every once in a while they have a place where a little misty water falls on you so that you cool off.
Yeah, we had that throughout Vegas when I was out there too.
Yeah, you got to have that. I mean, if we don't start doing that, things are like the event we were at today. Come July and August, it's going to be hard for people to show up for that.
Yeah.
Because of health, I mean, especially, sometimes the humidity and the heat's so high, it's not even safe to really go outside.
Yeah.
So, but when you have stuff like that can cool your body temperature down, and it doesn't get your clothes wet, it just kind of mist your face and
Yeah.
feel good. But to get people over here, we need to clean it up back here, use hospitality hat tax money to hire visual artists like Caleb Choir, Billy Wilkie. We have Paul Bailey. There's some really good talented native artists that would love to paint a mural on one of these concrete walls.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Right, and so we have the money to do it. We need to do it, and I'm not saying they wouldn't do it, just nobody's blowing that horn.
Yeah.
But Shady for mayor is. That's my deal. Once you did that, we could put a band on top of the old water reservoir, like the Beatles did on top of the parking garage. I think another place that we're missing out on doing some events in town is the top of the parking lot.
Really?
Sunset things. People could drive. You're already parked there. You come up to the top level. There's a beautiful view up there.
Yeah.
And you set up and do the maybe Bonerville Amphitheater and craft conversations and have to come up with a parking garage event.
All right.
Don't have to deal with lighting. We'll figure that out.
All right. You got my mind working now.
You know what I mean? I had one of the guys that I thought about it before too. You remember the old Beatles? What is that? JoJo was a man who thought he was that Get Back song they do on top of the building. You could have a band back here on top of this back here, and that would get people back here. I think we ought to have an event back here, like in the parking lot.
Yeah. I do too.
Once you clean it up, you got to clean it up.
Yeah, you got to
first.
clean it up. Yeah.
Got to clean it up first, but that would draw people into the museum. That would help me, and that all ties into helping. So we're all in this together. You gotta.
Yeah, I mean, the key is, the businesses are here. They're open. The doors are open. The lights are on, but you got to get the people here to walk into the business. So what's going to bring them into downtown? And that's events. That's functions. That's activities.
And here's where we need to step it up, Somerville. Okay, so everybody's caught on that live music and these events draw people in, but now they're becoming a dime a dozen. Okay, so we're gonna have to step our game up and get a higher level of performing artists in. I'm not knocking anybody, but if we can draw in some touring acts into Somerville, like we've been doing here in Studio 117, we can draw people in from as far away as Florence, because they're not going to be able to see something like this. If we produce a mediocre product that they can get in Walterboro, St. George, Goose Creek, Monk's Corner, then why leave Monk's Corner?
Yeah. I'm with you. Let's do it.
Yeah, but that takes money.
Yeah.
And it takes venues for them to be able to perform in. And so, hopefully later I'm going to share my vision of what I would like to see happen after the Public Works Center is completed and we can concentrate our efforts on establishing a performing arts center. And I have some ideas about that, but I want to talk to some people that have more knowledge than me and influence and see what they think about it before.
Yeah. Well, what about the one at Summers Corner? Is that out of the district? That's out of Dorchester County?
No,
or?
It's nice and all, but
It's a drive.
it's a drive, and there's no. I mean, eventually they'll be dining out there, but wouldn't it be nice if we had a nice performing arts center somewhere in town where you could eat at Oscars and drive a couple blocks or walk blocks or whatever and go to a show that you would see at the Performing Arts Center. All it would take is a 1,200 seat to 1,500 seat good acoustical place.
Yeah, there's plenty of real estate.
You would have maybe some people like Need to Breathe would come home and do a performance, you know, instead of the Charleston Music Hall.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, we would draw on the people that played the Charleston Music Hall would come to Somerville, and people, that would eliminate their traffic problem getting into Charleston.
Yeah.
And I have an idea about the traffic too, but that's for a different episode.
Yeah, we're going to save that for some, what are we talking about? We're talking about doing some Q&A events here out of Studio 117.
Right. So I'd like to save that for inviting anybody to come, and I'll get the word out. I'd like I say, I hope this is I don't think this race is going to be real heated or nasty. I might be naive. I'm not a politician, but you won't.
Yeah, we could get.
I won't be the sound of one hand clapping.
Yeah.
I've learned in life you don't have to take up every battle that comes your way.
Right. Yeah, we get you and one of the other guys in here maybe and do a Q&A, and I can mediate it maybe. You know, kind of like a CNN event or NBC event, whatever.
Right.
Yeah, that'd be
absolutely
cool. That'd be a good time.
We will do that.
Yeah.
And then I'll perform.
Yeah, and then we'll play some music
Up front after we're done.
All right.
That's the plan.
I'm down for it.
On last Wednesday of June will be our first month.
Yeah.
So we got to get our set work together.
Last Wednesday of June.
Last Wednesday of June.
Okay. All right.
And by the way, by that time, Shifty and Shady will be playing probably every Wednesday through July.
Okay. Here.
No lately.
Homegrown.
I've been bailing on you guys because I've been stuck on set. But
well, speaking of that, what is happening with the music scene here in Somerville right now? Let me see where we're at time-wise here.
Well, we got a Beth Snap coming up on the 29th.
We're at 55 minutes.
29th, right?
Here at Homegrown?
Yeah, that girl from Tennessee that reached out to
That sounds
Somerville
about
Amphitheater. She's really, really good.
That sounds
She
about
wanted
right.
to come to the listening room, but I said she had to get past the Brian Dale's.
May 30th. Yeah,
May
Beth
30th.
Snap.
All right, so that's going.
And then you're playing the night after,
right,
the 31st.
So that's going to be a good time.
Yeah.
Now I don't know what y'all have planned for this weekend. Got Memorial Day coming. Where you got Paul Stone?
We got Ron Gill on Thursday and Paul Stone the fourth Friday of the month.
Well,
yeah.
Cool.
So Ron Gill and then Paul Stone.
Ron's
two blues nights back to back.
Cool. And Ron's going to have probably the Low Billies or by himself. Who knows?
I'm not sure.
All right. Well, that's cool. And
yeah.
then,
so it's a good week.
Right.
And
then,
I don't know what we have. I mean Homegrown Brewhouse planned for Memorial Day weekend, but it'll be some kind of special, food special or drink special or something.
Right.
But yeah, not sure.
All right.
We'll figure it out.
Maybe we'll have to figure out, get y'all somebody here on Saturday on short notice in the afternoon.
That would be good.
I hear that band Afterglow is real hungry.
Man, Afterglow, they're blowing up.
They're getting good, man.
Yeah.
They're on their way.
Matter of fact, Melissa was here last night.
Yeah, she was.
Yeah. Very cool. So what are your plans for the summer besides doing music here and elsewhere and at the amphitheater, Green Door, or Green Barn?
We're going to next Thursday, and I don't have the lineup yet, but
June 3rd Thursday.
June 3rd Thursday. I think 40 Mile Detour is going to be on the square.
Oh, in the amphitheater here? The pavilion,
square.
whatever it is.
And
yeah.
so I'm wondering, and they've hired Bummerville Amphitheater to do the sound for them. So I'm kind of going to have to figure out how to run both places at once, and I'll do it. But we're talking about having Shady's Ice Cream Social in July.
Okay.
On third Thursday when it's hot. So maybe Homegrown Brewhouse could do some beer floats on that, coordinate something.
Yeah, we do beer floats and we do beer shakes as well.
Right.
I mean, we already do those. Those are already
right.
on the
So,
menu.
I mean, yeah, emphasize that for that third Thursday.
Yeah, that wouldn't be a bad idea. Yeah.
Call it Shady's
Get in,
Ice
come
Cream
in out of the heat.
Social.
Yeah.
Shady's craft beer. No.
Shady shakes. Something. Well, speaking of events and speaking of the summer, I'm seriously thinking about bringing Rivercraft back this year for 2019.
Well, quit doing it, man. It was fun last year.
Yeah.
You might want to change it with a little cooler weather.
Well, yeah, right. We're speaking of the middle of the summer, and that's when we did it last year, July 1st. I'd like to push it out to like September.
Whoa. Yeah.
Maybe even late August, but
yeah,
September.
Yeah, that's what
And do it at the Dorchester Boat Landing or Boat Club, whatever it's called. And it's a great venue out there. It's still on the river, so we can still call it Rivercraft. My vision is to get Bluesphere to headline the event. I'd like to get Dan Riley out there. He had to miss last year because he had something else going on. I'd like to get Dan involved. I'd like to have Paul back out there, Joshua Jarman. I mean, there's a list of people that I would love to have, but I'd like to do the same thing we did last year, maybe have 5 bands. Get a few vendors out there, Bait Cat Studios, Reflections Jewelry we had last year. I'd like to have them back. And then breweries. I've already had Oak Road Brewery reach out to me and say they're ready for this year's event. They want to be involved with it since they didn't get to do it last year, so they've already contacted me ahead of time and said they want to be the main brewery. So I've already got one guy. I had somebody else reach out to me today and said they know somebody at Rusty Bull, that they could probably get Rusty Bull involved. So
well, that's cool. I know a sound production person, but they have to be able to fly their banner.
Oh yeah.
It's Shady for Mayor Sound Production.
Right.
No,
Yeah.
no. You're gonna. Will you accept a table from a candidate to be one of the vendors, or would you rather keep politics out of that event?
I don't really care. I mean, I wouldn't even be opposed to having 2 different candidates.
Right, right. Neither would I. No. I think
Right.
it'd be a good opportunity for them to get out and meet people.
Yeah.
Look here. I mean, regardless of who wins.
I mean, it would be an event for the people. So if the people
Right.
want to have
I'd
some
encourage-
political aspects out there, then I'll let people vote on that or
Speaking of that,
speak up. But
one of the candidates for county council, Matthew Cole, was here last night for the Studio 117 show with Bluesphere. I said, cool. Met him. He goes, "You're running for mayor out here?" I said, "Yeah." I said, I watched you.
it sounds like we've got a lot of spies going around. Is what's happening. People are checking you out.
Are they?
It seems like it. I mean, that's a good thing. That means people are kind of antsy about it. They're worried, or else they wouldn't be checking you out. I think. I don't know. Am I speaking out of turn?
Well, I
Out of
don't know.
school?
I don't want to get started conspiracy theories.
No. I mean,
well, I just think they aren't spying on me. That's kind of a
not
strong-
spying, but I mean,
strong
people wouldn't be
word.
coming inquiring if they
Well, if that means they're interested. I mean,
if they weren't maybe a little worried.
there's nothing to be worried about.
Competition.
Competition's a good thing. I thought we lived in a capitalist society.
No, I mean that's good. I mean
Competition-
that's what I'm saying. They're like checking out the competition.
Uh,
If you weren't competition to them, they wouldn't be checking you out
Oh,
and coming asking questions. I think.
well, no. I mean, he was just like a friendly. I haven't like. It's what makes me. Not that it's funny you say that because at church today. I met Bill McIntosh, and I know these people from Facebook, and I don't, wouldn't have known him from Adam and never met him before, and he's on town council, and I'm like saying, wow, this is a coincidence, but is it a coincidence,
Yeah, but I mean, you watch sports and stuff. I mean, you wouldn't have a baseball scout going out to scout somebody if they weren't interested in them. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like these guys are like scouting you out, watching you, taking a look, seeing what's going on.
Well, they just tune in to Craft Conversations if they want to see that.
Right.
They say but no, I think Matthew actually had a good time at the show, man. He seemed to be enjoying it, man.
Yeah.
He was like, man, if you could get more of this stuff going on in Square,
Yeah.
we need to have music there well, we got to be realistic about how much music we can have on the square, and you know, I want to raise the bar on the talent. You know, get money to get some talent in here.
Right. Well, let's think about it real quick. So, in the town of Somerville proper right now, on a standard week, where can you catch live music on a standard week? I mean, we know here, Thursday and Friday nights, 8 to 10, Homegrown Brew House.
No, that's not an easy question to answer. Live music that I would want to go see, or live music. There's live music.
Well,
in a lot of places.
I just say live music because what you would want to go see is something different than what somebody else would want to see. So let's talk about all of it.
What I would like is not so much. It's the environment that I want to go see it in. Like, I enjoy shows at Coastal Coffee Roasters because on a Saturday night, depending who's playing, I'll go because you know you're going to be able to listen. I mean, and enjoy the show.
Right.
Montrose on the Monday nights.
Well, let's go back. So Coastal Coffee, they do an open mic every Thursday. One night is hosted by Joshua Jarman.
Right.
Another night, Chris Rinkin is still doing the other night.
Yeah.
And then they have actual bands on Friday and Saturday nights. So I just want to make sure I get Thursday, Friday, Saturday. They're doing music at Coastal.
Things, and, you know, I enjoy original music, so I'm kind of like Homegrown Brew House is my. And I'm just saying that because I'm sitting in here and it's just my favorite place for music in Somerville. But Montrose, on Monday night, you can go in there and listen. On the weekends, I'm not knocking them because their business model.
And Monday is normally a blues night, right?
Blues
Isn't that right?
night, yeah.
Yeah.
But, you know, Friday and Saturday nights, the business model is not for guys like me.
No.
So.
Or me.
Yeah,
I mean,
or
at middle
I
age.
really want to listen to live music in Montrose. You know, I'm kind of. I lived in Mount Pleasant in my 20s, and I'm kind of over it. You know.
Yeah.
That part of it, and not that there's anything wrong with doing that.
No, because other part of your constituents that might be in their 20s and 30s,
right,
that's where they want to go.
Love that, and that's cool. But when I go to listen to music, I want to listen.
Yeah.
You know. Listen and
right.
hear the lyrics and
hence
catch
listening.
the essence of what the artist is trying to portray. And so I don't like a lot of cover music. I mean, I sometimes you hear that. And as a performer, I'm getting to the point now that I don't even want to perform in a place where I'm a live jukebox. You know? Yeah. And sometimes you push through that and you do it, but it's like, this is a nice place to play. I mean, I want to play places there's some places like whenever I play with the guys from On Dog Green, with their sound production people, those whole people, that whole mindset, it's an enjoyable time, and you have fun.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
And that's what it should be all about.
Right, and sometimes businesses want live music, and they put you in a place where you feel like you're intruding on somebody's dinner by even playing, you know, and it's just not the right. So.
Yeah, that's a valid point. I mean, Joshua Jarman, I mentioned him a few times now tonight, but he plays every Monday night over at the Ice House. Right. And I've been in there. I go over and watch him quite often from 6 to 9 on Monday nights downstairs at the Ice House. And I'll be sitting there eating dinner, and you'll have, I'm not picking on the older people, but the older crowd, you know, Joshua will say something, you know, is my sound okay? Is the volume too high or too low or whatever? And I'll see people, you know, saying, turn it down, turn it down, turn it down, because, like you said, it's a dinner place. People are trying to eat dinner. They don't want to be bothered by music or whatever. And he's not even playing loud. But
yeah, but that's
some people
on the
are just
management. Josh was just trying to scrape out a living. And
yeah,
I understand it.
But to your point, it's not a listening room. People are there to eat dinner. That's background music.
Yeah, the older he gets, there were times when I would just play harmonica and the guitar and not even try to even, and that seemed to work. That's really all they want. So you're just music, and that's got to do what you got to do, you know.
Right. But speaking of that, that's another venue, Ice House on Monday nights, Cup of Mana.
Right, and the food truck rodeo every Sunday back there. I've been
Where's that?
Behind the Ice House. I've been to that a couple times.
Oh, I've never done that.
Butch plays,
Okay.
and then he lets the guy from Band of Brothers comes in and sits in every once in a while. And
Casey or Matt?
Matt, I think, the
Yeah.
one that comes here that I saw here last time. They probably both come here, right?
Yeah, they've both been in here. Yeah.
But anyway,
Cool. What else?
let's see. So I'm playing here on 31st, playing 24th at the Mixing Club in North Charleston. I'm taking a break from music and been working with Danielle Howe on finding a studio to record my next album that I'm going to release after all. I don't know. They say November is a bad time to release it, so I might release it before before the campaign. And the other thing we're doing is recording this whole thing, and a girl named Diana DeVito. Diana DeVito, not Danny DeVito, but DeVito is her last name. She's a photography major at Winthrop University and is we're working together, and she's going to edit the documentary on this historic campaign.
Very cool.
So yeah, we're going to be interviewing people in town, anybody who's willing to sign an NDA
Right.
and realize that this is for a college project and there's no payment or royalties involved in it.
That's
We
awesome.
got your permission to do it. Yeah, and it's what's cool about this whole campaign, and I hope people will enjoy it, is that as an artist and a performer, I can see that politics is optics and performance art in itself. So the campaign is art. The communications, the banners are going to involve art. Campaign is centered on a central issue is art and cultural infrastructure, and the people involved in it are having fun. We're going to create art out of the whole campaign and just have a good time and hopefully bring people together and share a vision that resonates with the voters.
Right.
And who knows, you might have Mayor Shady. Beats
Quite
a shady
possibly.
mayor.
That's right. That's right. Now, one last thing, I think. Well, maybe. I don't know. Depends on how long you want to sit here. But so we know that we have the mayor and then we have a council, right? And it's right now it's more strong on the mayor's side or the council side. I mean, how's that all work?
Well,
And-
it's not strong. What it is, and see, we had a referendum 2 years ago about whether we wanted, and the way they describe it is strong mayor
Yeah, that's what I was trying to say.
or weak mayor, and it's
Right.
not really what it is. It's council form or mayor form.
Mhm.
Okay, we chose council form of government where the mayor has no more executive power than any other council member, other than he conducts the council meetings and he's responsible to all the voters throughout town limits, whereas a council person is only responsible for the neighborhoods within their district. Okay, so in that form of government, you work as a team. And so that's why it's important to be able, it's okay to have friction when you're eyeing and working out on something. That happens in bands. It happens when you're producing anything. The key is the final product. So if we could quit getting caught up in the minutia of the political fights that go on sometimes,
Right.
and look to the bigger picture, and what it'll take is
And that's where you're talking about that compromise. I mean, you'd
right.
rather have a win-win situation where everybody wins,
Right.
but sometimes you got to compromise, and
Well, that's-
you might have to compromise. They might have to compromise.
Well, see, the kind of thing arguments we get into sometimes over here. Suppose, let's dream big for a second. Suppose we wanted to put a performing arts center in the space where the boutique hotel was.
Okay.
All right, and I had this concept. And I want to call it the Gus Moody Performing Arts Center. Gus Moody was a beloved band member. There are going to be some people that don't want to call it that. Okay? Would I give up the whole project because they wouldn't call it what I wanted to call it? Or
Right.
because it didn't have an awning the way I wanted to, or it was too big? Or what?
Right. That's just
the
somebody seeing the bigger picture. And,
Yeah, you got the end. What we're worried about is the end goal.
Right.
There's going to be friction. So civility is good. Civility is the lubricant to reconciliation. And I do believe we need some reconciliation between people on council that have had opposing viewpoints in the past if we're going to move forward.
Right.
Okay, or otherwise we're going to be caught in the, doesn't matter who's the mayor is. And that's where I think I'm in a unique position, because I have been fair-handed. And people know me in this town. They know I've lived here my life and I love this town. And yet when an outsider comes in and speaks the truth, I'm not necessarily going to join with the natives if somebody from a different part of the country comes in here and has an idea that I believe works and their intentions and motives are true. You know,
Right. I mean, sometimes an outside eye is better, anyways, for a lot of times.
Fresh set
So,
of eyes is what we need.
yeah.
You know, and I'm not disparaging anybody on council for what they do for a living. But I think diversity is important. We already have 2 lawyers on council. I don't think we need a 3rd lawyer on council.
Right.
All right, and that's.
I think I would agree.
Okay. So that would be the only thing, and that's not a criticism of Mr. Hearn. It's just the reality of what he does for a living. So
Right, just happens to be what he does. Yeah.
If we're going to build a team to move this town forward, we need diversity. It's like you wouldn't win the Super Bowl with 12 good quarterbacks and no line.
Yeah.
Or no running
Gotta have a
back.
diverse
Everybody's
team.
got to have a different gift they bring to the table.
Sure.
And that's
point.
where I think I'm unique and should be an alternative for voters in Somerville to choose from.
Right. Well, to piggyback off of that question, so, I know we got President Trump in office and he's just firing and hiring people left and right. Do you have that, would you have that same ability as a mayor, or are all the council members elected? I mean, are you
Yeah,
able to
yeah.
fire and hire people to fit your cabinet type thing, or
No. It's nothing
you get
wrong.
what you get?
You work with the council and I actually kind of like it, even though I voted against it. Now that I see that, if it were the other way around, I wouldn't be running for mayor. If it was where I had the responsibility of putting the cabinet together and hiring, firing,
Yeah.
I'm thankful for the employees we have in town. Whether I know.
So you got to figure out
Dole Best,
what
all
somebody's
the
strengths
guys,
are, or whatever, and work
Russ
with them.
Cornell, I think they all do a good job.
Yeah.
Now, and I don't think it's my job as the mayor to micromanage them. Now, if there comes a situation where their
Well,
performance,
there's a difference between micromanagement and leadership.
right, it's not the mayor's job to do that. Now, if their performance comes into question, that's a question the council together decides on, and it really would be up to the only person. I think the town administrator is the one who hires and fires, and the town administrator is responsible to the council. So, that's the way that works.
Mm-hmm.
You
Okay.
know? And I think they did a good job. They did a great job on Hutchinson Square.
Yeah.
I mean, there's always going to be kinks, like the fountain. We all kind of agree that maybe the flow is a little strong,
Yeah.
but it's those things take time.
I tell you,
And
it's the most photographed thing in Somerville right now.
Right.
I'll tell you
and
that.
and the other thing is it takes money to do these things. So that's the hospitality tax. They built the square. It's going to cost money to maintain.
Yeah.
That's art infrastructure, helping the square.
Yeah.
And so anyway, no, it's not about hiring and firing people. It's about
Working with people you got.
It's about sharing a vision with people and trying to communicate in a manner in which it resonates with them and they buy into the vision, and then we
Word I was about to use. You got to get them to buy in.
buy into.
And it's not really selling them
No. They got to believe in the vision, and
if they don't, sometimes the vision has to change, right?
well, maybe it's not the right vision.
Yeah.
And see, that's where, I can't attach my ego to this. I just think I have something. It's out of
You
the
bring
good
some ideas to the table and you discuss
that
them.
I think would actually help the common good of the welfare of the people.
Yeah. All right.
So that's where we're at, and I think I did better at this one than the ones before because I'm not quite as tired. The last time we did one, it was like 1 o'clock, and I played maybe a 6-hour gig or something.
Yeah, it was late.
But
Yeah.
thank you, Brian. And the other thing is I think I got some video I could send to you from me at the Barn Jam if you wanted to include that. Since I'm not going to do a live performance. I'm just running out. Maybe you can.
Oh, yeah, no problem.
I'll
And
send that to you.
I'll tell you what I was going to do with this episode, not just saying it now, I've already decided on it about a week ago, is the intro music that you had done for this podcast. That's going to be the intro and outro for this episode. So,
Well, thank you. That'll be
yeah,
fine.
so we're going to put that on there. Yeah.
Awesome.
It's going to be good. Any last thoughts for the audience?
Yes, Studio 117. If you haven't been there, come out in June and hear my friend. July the 6th, Robert Lighthouse returns. He'll be our first return artist from Sweden.
Right.
Google Robert Lighthouse. You're going to want to be here July 6th.
Absolutely.
July 20th, it's George Fox.
George Allen Fox.
And all you Somerville peeps that love 40 Mile Detour, you're going to catch them in the listening room.
August 17th.
August 17th. So that's kind of where we're at. And then it's back to David Dunning and
The return of David Dunning, September 21st,
Danielle Howe in October.
October 19th.
And we're probably going to squeeze in another Bluesphere show in August once we set that date.
Cool.
And maybe a special guest from California in October that's traveling through. Got to talk to Caleb about that and confirm her. I'd love to get her. Her name's Jill Knight. Google Jill Knight. Great songwriter, originally from Tybee Island, Georgia, I believe, but
moved out to California.
Made it out in California. Comes through and tours through here about once every year or so. So it's a
Very
good
cool.
chance to get her in here.
Awesome. Sounds good, man. We got a lot going on, a lot coming up.
You got it.
So stay tuned to bummerville.com for all your music info. Stay tuned to shadyformayor.com.
Shady for Mayor. We're going to get our platform up on there. It's kind of
Right, it's like a little intro up there right
it's
now.
just
But
about, and I'm not seeking any endorsements, but we might have some celebrity endorsements come our way,
okay.
but no political endorsements. I don't think anybody wants to risk their brand on Shady for Mayor at this point.
Right,
Well,
yeah, we've seen what happens with risking your brand.
We'll see what happens. we'll see what happens come October. But anyway, it's gonna be fun and interesting, and peace and love to y'all.
Yeah, absolutely. Fleming, I appreciate it, man.
Peace, man.
Guys, we'll talk to you soon.
Enter into dales and garden, all are welcome here. We're gonna have a craft conversation. Please lend us an ear. Come on and join the circle. No beginning or end. We're gonna have a craft conversation here among friends. Come on, y'all, join the party. There's no judgment in here. We're gonna have a craft conversation talking